Whew. Now that all that's out of the way, heyo folks, Crash Thompson here. Thank you for checking out this Patreon exclusive video here. I figured we would try this out as our first kind of test run with this new Patreon exclusive content here. I don't know, the whole goal behind a lot of these videos is to be a lot more relaxed, a lot more chill, a lot more, hey, let's just kind of go off the cuff and just kind of vlog and just kind of podcast it. You know, let's podcast it. Let's take it easy with this. So I figured this would be a good topic to kind of, test drive this whole concept. Because this is going to cover my top 10 albums of the year. I wasn't even sure what to call this video, so we'll just call it the top 10. A big thing with this year in particular was just albums that left little to no impression on me, or for some reason I just could not get into, or something just wasn't clicking there, and I figured, this would be a great year, because I have more than 10 that I could do, but I narrowed it down to 10 here, and we're going to go over the top 10, albums. The top 10 albums, the top 10, okay, I guess, albums of whatever. You know what? Why not? These are in no particular order either. There is a top album of the year, but everything else, no real order on this. Apart from the one at the tippy top, these are all completely interchangeable. For whatever reason or another, these either weren't clicking, or I just couldn't vibe with it, or maybe I may have even liked them, and I just stopped kind of liking them, and they just kind of dipped out. I don't know. For whatever reason, these albums were just kind of... I have a... Can I even call this an honorable mention? What do you even call this? An honorable mention? Oh, that's too lame. Bo Burnham's Inside. Here's the thing. It's an honorable mention. I didn't listen to this record. I straight up did not pick this up. I heard the album. Oh, you better believe I heard this album all over the damn place. I heard it all over TikTok, all over social media. Just, you couldn't escape this album in 2021, people. You absolutely could not. But, the thing is, I didn't purposefully seek out this record. I didn't listen to it. I don't know when, if I'll ever get around to listening to this, because, okay, here's the thing I heard about Inside. Yeah, everyone was saying, oh, it's this great record, it's so wonderful, oh, you have to listen to this record, it'll make you so fucking sad. It's the most depressing fucking thing that came out in 2021, it's great. Oh, it makes me want to die, it's so sad, I wish to not exist anymore. Thank you, Bo Burnham. And y'all, if you watched the best and the worst list by this point, how was I feeling in 2021? What was my general mood? Do you remember? Because I'm not sure I mentioned it enough across those both videos. I needed no help, absolutely zero help in being sad or being depressed in 2021. And I was not in the right headspace for that album. I honestly wasn't. I'll try to get around to it when I'm in a decent headspace, but I didn't listen to that specifically because of everything I heard about it being sad and depressing, and I just did not want another bummer in 2021. And also, I'm sorry, I know y'all like it, I know y'all loved it, but if I have to hear CEO Entrepreneur born in 1964 Daddy Bezos. Okay, it was funny the first time you heard it, but that got annoying real quick, right? I can't be the only one. God, I just wanted this album to be better. Didn't you want it to be better? It wasn't even bad necessarily, but man, when Jesus is the One dropped, let's all just be real. When Jesus is the One fucking dropped, oh man, that was... It's a shame that wasn't on a record, because that was one of my favorite songs of the last couple years. That song was an absolute vibe, and I was so looking forward to when he was going to drop something full length to see if it would be to see if it would hit or if it would be funny or whatever, and it just kind of, oh yeah, it just kind of happened. It was just kind of there. Very mid. Like, a lot of the jokes were really corny. A lot of, I don't know, the humor didn't hit. His beats and his flow, they were okay, but nothing spectacular. I don't know, maybe our expectations were a little too high. Maybe mine were a little high. But, I don't know, there's just nothing else on that record ever captured the moment of Jesus is the One. Or even some of his other goofier songs, like Square Up. There wasn't even a Square Up on this album. That should tell you everything you need to know. Again, it wasn't even like bad necessarily. It was just so kind of, oh, okay, that's it. That's all this is. Okay, it's fine, but okay. Again, a perfect album for the list. Okay, kind of disappointing too. I really was rooting for that record, but whatever, maybe Zach will do better on the next run. You never know. Yeah, it kind of breaks my heart to do this too, because like, man, y'all know I do love Idols. I love me some Idols. I think Idols is one of the most interesting punk, post-punk, whatever you kind of want to classify them into, bands of the modern era, of the last 5 years most certainly. Crawler, the thing is, I kind of get why this album left a lot of people cold. It is not what a lot of people were expecting. Although the thing is, they did kind of sort of take my advice and go in a different direction. I mean, I argued that their last record, Ultra Mono, the whole silliness aspect was kind of getting a little out of hand and they maybe kind of needed to change direction. To their credit, they did do that. They did change things up. I'm just not sure they really changed in the best direction necessarily. I don't know. I was kind of... the thing is, I didn't hate Crawler. I saw some people... I saw a lot of genuine, like, oh, this album reeks. But, like, I didn't hate that record, but I get why a lot of people did. It doesn't have the same energy as a lot of other Idols albums. It is, honestly... It's a crawler. It's an album that's kind of it's a little sludgier than their usual output. It's a little more growly. It's a little more kind of somber and kind of, I don't know, it's a weird mood for Idols, especially given their last handful of records. This is definitely an off take from what we're used to with Idols. It's the thing is though, given where my headspace was at in 2021, I actually really did kind of identify with that record and I really liked it. I don't know, I still did enjoy that record, but man, it's got a lot of problems, and I get why a lot of people were not into that vibe. It's a weird vibe. It honestly is a weird vibe for them. I enjoyed it, but definitely not enough to put on the best list, and I certainly didn't hate it enough to put it on like a worsties or anything. No, it's not. It's fine. Not a favorite by any means, not even an album I necessarily recommend to other people, but again, I didn't hate it enough to put it on the worst list. It definitely didn't hit that best list either. It's kind of right in the middle for me. I don't know. It was fine. It was fine, sure. Again, Yeah, this record, again, it wasn't bad, but it just felt icky, this record. You know, there was an ickiness to it. I don't know, the music was interesting. You know, they've definitely still got an ear for melody. They're still not terrible when it comes to basic song crafting, but just the sort of, it's the attitude on this record. Like, man, this record, I mean, there's just no easy way of getting around it. The fallout between Janet and the rest of the band, the fracturing that happened around When the Center Won't Hold, man, those wounds are still fresh. And that's what sucked about this record. The lyrics behind it really seemed kind of petty. I don't know if these songs are necessarily directed at Janet, but I don't know, given everything that happened in that breakup and how not friendly the vibe seems to be between all parties involved here, it's like, I hate, it's like seeing your parents fight. The album seemed to be coming from a very angry, not even angry, but from a very bitter place. And like, I just was not vibing on that. I don't know, especially after the last handful of records they did, that was just, I don't know, I really wasn't on board for a lot of this album. Again, it did avoid the worst list because the music still does bop when it really, really wants to. If you can ignore all of the not so nice subtext behind a lot of this record, it's still, you can still get something out of it, but man, I just did not like the sort of undercurrent of shade with this one. And again, because with Janet being a non-factor in this band, man, the percussion just sucks. The drums, the beats on this record are just barely even there. You feel her absence on that record like nothing else, and I don't know, again, not bad, especially compared to some of the worst of the year, I would say, but not good either. Definitely not my favorite. Maybe the worst Slater-Kinney record I've heard since their super, super early days, and I don't know. It's sad to see what happened to this band. It really is. Yeah, I see. Again, it's one of those things where I see why a lot of people didn't like this one. I get it. It's just, I'm not as familiar with Casey's back catalog, but I've heard some of her better stuff, and like, man, she really does kill. She really does absolutely kill when she wants to bring across a vibe. And again, I hate to contextualize it like this, but her and Rustin Kelly going through their divorce and her making a big divorce record, I don't know, she's good at singing about her pain. She's good at singing about bad experiences and breakups and stuff. I figured this would be a triumph, but man, it's honestly the production, the kind of stylistic choices on this album is just way too poppy for what it is. Like, this should not be, I don't know, in my opinion, this should not be like a poppy, happy-go-lucky kind of fuck around record. Like, I get what she was trying to do here, but I don't know, I just didn't enjoy the music, really, at the end of the day. I didn't hate it, though. Like, I feel like, again, her songwriting, lyrically, I still felt it was strong in places. That's really what saved it. It's not, lyrically, it's not too dumb or too derpy, even with the lousy production, but man, sonically, this record is just aching for any other kind of aesthetic. It really is just begging to not have the glitz and the gloss on it. This is the one record that shouldn't have had the glitz and the gloss. This should have been a raw, personal, just emotional sort of thing, and yeah, I wasn't feeling the vibe, but not to the extent that others were. Again, this is one of those records I saw on a lot of people's worst lists. Even though I get why, I don't know, I wasn't feeling that hard towards it. It was just kind of there. It was just kind of, okay, all right. This is a weird move, Casey, but hey, you do you. Another one I want to throw on here is that last Brockhampton. I don't even remember the name of it. Do y'all even remember Brockhampton released an album this year? That feels so weird to say because I was so on board with Brockhampton for the longest time. Like, they were one of the bands that kind of inspired me to, kind of move on from rock and tackle other genres, because I wanted to talk about groups like this. I wanted to talk about all this cool, eclectic music that I couldn't because I was genre shackled, And their latest album just, God, I couldn't tell you a thing about it. I tried to listen to it again here recently, and again, just, it was, nothing stuck. It just slid off my brain like Teflon. This was one of those albums during the year where a lot of music had trouble sticking to me. An album like this that just does not have anything really clasping or clenching to it is just like, oh, whoosh. It's whoosh. It's in one ear, out the other, except it's Brockhampton, and that shouldn't be happening. I don't know, there's just not much to really say about this record. And the fact that Brockhampton is choosing to break up, no, it sounds like they're about ready to break up. It sounds like they're kind of out of gas. They're kind of out of steam. You know what? Props to them for not torturously dragging it out or anything, you know? They kind of know that they're done, and I kind of feel like they might be done at this point. But hey, you know, we got a good run out of them. You know, best of luck to them in the future with whatever they decide to do. But this record, oof. Again, I tell you I wasn't feeling it, but I literally was not feeling it. I cannot tell you anything about this record. Oh, this one. I warned you there was gonna probably be some albums on here that I initially liked, but dropped off really quickly as the year went on. Yeah, this is one of those. I liked it at first. I kind of liked the vibe she was doing, the whole sort of New York 70s thing. It was kind of a cool aesthetic. You know, I haven't heard a ton of people really try to capture that, and I'd say she did a good job with it, but it was one of those albums, every time I came back to it, every time I spun it, I just cared a little bit less and a little bit less, and I don't know, by the end of it, I was just, I remember putting it on for, you know, trying to evaluate what I thought was best of the year, and I was like, oh, I gotta put a spot for St. Vincent, right? I remembered liking this album, and then I spun it again, and I was like, why did I like this so much? Why did I care? And I don't know, again, diminishing returns with this one. Big diminishing returns. And, you know, I hate to sound like an absolute bastard, but, okay, the whole crux of the album is St. Vincent celebrating the fact that her father got out of jail, and that, you know, it's a whole treatise on his life and his crimes and everything that he did. St. Vincent's father was a white-collar criminal. The kind of white-collar criminal that got us into a lot of the economic messes we're still trying to recover from today. And, you know, I don't care if this makes me sound like an absolute prick. It's really hard for me to feel sympathy for someone like that. Oh, man. Architects. Again, what happened here? Like, man, especially since Holy Hell was so good. It was so unbelievably good. Like, it was head and shoulders above anything I'd ever heard them done up to that point. I kind of figured, okay, that album's going to be hard to top, but they'll probably still put out really solid stuff. They'll probably still be able to work with that. And, like, it was just like, boom. They just cratered. They just, like, again, it's one of those albums, I don't even consider it bad. It had a few decent tunes on it, but I just barely remember even listening to it. I barely remembered Architects even put out a record this year. I was like, oh yeah, there was an Architects album. I was going through my list of releases, and it's like, oh yeah, Architects. I totally listened to that. Fimi reviewed that. Damn. How do I not remember anything off of this album? I don't know, y'all. I wish it were better. I honestly wish there were more going on with this record. The production, again, is a big deal. This album just kind of sounds like trash. I don't know, and Holy Hell was such a triumph of production. The production was basically what helped make that album so absolutely bomb. But, I don't know, that presence and that power and that just energy was not on this one. It kind of sounds like a hot mess. Their music left such a huge emotional impact to leaving no impact at all over the course of like one record, and it's kind of flabbergasting. I don't know. Like, again, I didn't hate it by any means, but it's just one of those albums I barely even remember listening to, and I don't know, that album's very divisive. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts on that record, both positive and negative. Honestly, I just fall kind of somewhere in the middle. It's like, it's a mediocre metalcore record that came out in a year that's full of mediocre metalcore records. I don't know, I kind of was hoping they'd do better, but again, it's there. Just You know, I I took a lot of pot shots at this album in the besties list. I don't know. I didn't hate this record. For what it is, I guess it's okay. It's a decent shoegaze record. It's got a nice, atmospheric, super mellow, super chill kind of vibe going on. If you look at it just as a piece of standard sort of shoegaze material, it's fine, I guess. But again, the thing is, this is Death Heaven, you know? Their best records were always like, you know, stuff like Sunbather and stuff like Corrupt Ordinary Human Love, you know? Stuff that was a transgression of shoegaze and black metal. It was a nice mixture of styles that they were bringing on, you know? It was them playing with shoegaze conventions and playing with black metal conventions and making it into this weird hybrid thing that was just kind of, I don't know, the mad scientist experiment that their music usually could be. But yeah, no, this record, yeah, it's just shoegaze and kind of generic and kind of boring shoegaze. That, like, I've heard better shoegaze, you know, I've heard better straight shoegaze. If they were going to take the straight shoegaze route, I don't know, I kind of figured they'd be better at it. They're just kind of mid. I don't know, this record was just very mid. Again, I didn't hate it. It was something I could put on and just shut my brain off to and just kind of vibe to. It's decent vibes. I'm alright with a good vibe, and it was a decent vibe, but again, it wasn't engaging in any particular way. It was one of those albums you almost had to turn your brain off in order to enjoy, in my opinion at least. And like, I feel like at least Death Heaven is better than that. I know they can do better than that. They're capable of doing better than that. And this record was just a lot of nothing. Oh, I hate to break y'all's hearts. I really do. I know some of y'all probably wanted me to really come out swinging for this record. And hey, you know, I was happy to see Limp Bizkit out here again, having fun and being goofballs, and it was a fun story, right? Seeing Limp Bizkit come back and seeing them embrace the full goofball nature and just embrace their sort of legacy and their kind of joke status and just kind of run with it. Hey, that was a cool move. At the end of the day, I kind of love how this album was marketed and how they kind of rode the wave of their sort of image. I liked that aspect of things. You know, I'm rooting for them in that regard. But the music itself, I'm sorry, this shit was just dated. It's dated. It sounds like Limp Bizkit, and it sounds like a Limp Bizkit that is genuinely stuck like 25 years in the past. Like, I know they're riffing on that. That's part of the joke of this record, but I don't know. It's not even as good as some of the stuff that they put out back in those earlier days. I don't know. Hearing another Limp Bizkit album, even a Limp Bizkit album with them being all tongue-in-cheeky and kind of realizing their status and kind of, even when they're kind of in on the joke, I don't know, the joke still isn't very funny, and the music is just, I don't know, like I say, I've heard better Limp Bizkit albums. Like, honestly, I would say even stuff like Chocolate Starfish and $3 Bill Y'all and Significant Other are way better than this. It's not as bad as, like, Results May Vary or something like that, but, I don't know, it's just kind of mid, honestly. The gimmick is nice. I like the gimmick, but I don't review gimmicks, you know? I review music, and the music, I'm sorry, it did nothing. It did nothing for me. Those of you that were all in on the Family Values tour back in 2000, I'm happy you got to have a piece of fun with this record, but I'm sorry I can't join you on that train. I was just kind of like, eh. And now the top album of 2021 for me, drum roll. Am I too lazy to put a drum roll in here? Yeah, Foo Fighters. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. This album just was nothing. This was the nothing burger of 2021 for me. I remember in my initial Fimi, I was kind of more generous to it. I liked it more than Concrete and Gold. I remember Concrete and Gold made the worst list last year. Just a dishonorable mention, but it was what I would consider a bad Foo Fighters record. This album, though, even though it's better than that, honestly, it's almost more forgettable because I can tell you nothing about this album. Like, it came out early in the year. I gave it more tries throughout the year, too. I kept trying to listen to this record over and over again to try and let it click. I mean, it's the Foo Fighters, you know. I love me some Foo Fighters. Honestly, I even like me some later Foo Fighters. Wasting Light is good. Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace was good. I even think Sonic Highways was better than it had. It's better than I think a lot of people like to give that album credit, but I don't know. This album just was not clicking, like, at all. And it kind of boils down to that whole idea, what is worse? An album that is just genuinely bad and makes your skin crawl or makes you feel disgusted, or just an album that does nothing to you, that just enters your brain space and leaves as soon as it's there? And it's something that just swooshes out of your head like it may as well have not even been there in the first place. Which is worse? I don't know, the last handful of records have just felt like, I don't know, the Foo Fighters don't know what direction they want to go in, and I don't know if they have a good direction they could go in. Like, what could Foo Fighters do at this point? What could they do that they haven't already tried or haven't already attempted? If they try something new, I don't know, chances are it's not going to work. If they keep hammering in the same direction, well, that's going to get stale. What do you do? What do the Foo Fighters do at this point? I don't envy that position. Not to sound pessimistic, but I kind of don't think we're ever going to get a fantastic Foo Fighters record again. Like, we're never going to get, like, that mind-boggling, just amazing fucking record from Foo Fighters again. But, you know, they'll probably still be around. They'll probably still be in what I call retirement mode. You know, they'll put an album out every few years, and it'll probably be, like, okay. It'll probably be like a 6 to a 7. It'll be kind of mid. It'll be kind of whatever. Oh, hey, Foo Fighters, they're still out there. They still exist. Yeah, good for them. But I don't know. The music just has not been there for a while now, and I don't know what they can do to bring it back. If they can recover from it, it'll be a damn solid sight to see, but I don't know. I just feel like the Foos are kind of out of ideas. They're out of directions they can go in, and this record... again, if there was any album in this entire year that I just felt about, yeah, it's Medicine at Midnight. I'm sorry, folks, but you know, I hope I'm 100% wrong about all this. I hope their next album blows me away and all of y'all can point and laugh at how dumb I was to say such a silly thing about Dave Grohl and his Wonder Boy project of Miracle Makers. Like, hey, I hope that happens. I hope you can point and laugh at me. I hope you get to do that. I'm happy for you when that day comes. I genuinely am. But oh, y'all, it just wasn't here for this one. I'm sorry. And that's that. Thanks for checking this video out. Again, stay tuned. I plan on dropping some other Patreon exclusive stuff here and there. Again, this will be stuff that I can just, this is stuff that I can just kind of, you know, throw out there. That's kind of quick, kind of casual, kind of just, you know, I'm thinking about doing other stuff like, you know, maybe I'll talk about like movies or games over here. Maybe I'll talk about an album from time to time over here occasionally if I have something to say about it. I don't know. I'm still kind of playing with the format, still kind of playing with the idea. But, and again, we'll see how this video plays. We'll see how y'all like it and how y'all react to it. And we can just kind of take it from there. But, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thank you for all your support and for everything you've done in 2021 for me. And my screensaver just went off. Whoops. But thanks again for watching, folks. I'm Crash Thompson, and I will see you when I see you. Peace.